a technology partner invested in your dreams, where we take the time to understand your aspirations and give you the opportunity to transform them into reality through disruptive innovation. We are ICIIT Digital Labs. We are a team of IT professionals, data scientists, cloud solutions specialists, creative design engineers, spanning 7 global offices. We are enriching the lives of over 500 million people. We have successfully delivered projects globally, specializing in digital telco solutions, mobile money, fintech, IoT, AI, machine learning, data analytics, and self-care solutions. Using our expertise and domain knowledge, we have helped challenge the norms of industries and rewrite the rules of engagement. We provide our customers with agility. We provide them future-ready products now. ICIIT Digital Labs, advancing digital life.
The world is changing rapidly in front of our eyes. While new technologies are being built, tons of data is created every second. Industry needs are changing and businesses need to innovate ever so fast. Are you equipped to face the transformations taking place around you? We can help you achieve it. That is what inspires us. This is Limark Technologies, where a talented and experienced pool of software architects, engineers and data scientists have come together to produce world-class software solutions. We are a global technology company specializing in product engineering, data analytics, DevOps, quality engineering, ICIIT and cloud frameworks, and our unique service model of CTO Office as a Service. Limark Technologies, for a mark of excellence.
We are Zone 24/7, an advanced technology and research center established and headquartered in San Jose, California in 2004, specializing in offering end-to-end technology consulting and engineering services encompassing both hardware and software. Our sound research and development background means that we are constantly developing leading-edge technology solutions ahead of market needs. Our ability to meld hardware and software solutions places us among a handful of companies in the world with the ability to do so.
Zone 24/7 has continued to show phenomenal growth since its establishment, which has pushed us to be a pioneer in the IT industry. We work towards our vision of enhancing the emotional experience of everyone we touch, be it our customers or employees who are part of this great organization.
Our global outreach is empowered by local talent. We are the industry leaders when it comes to hardware and software, catering to an array of industries and providing state-of-the-art products and solutions for global customers. Zone 24/7 is led by a tech-savvy leadership focusing on technology innovation, and our direction is shaped by mentorship and guidance. We are an organization with autonomy and empowerment, which brings creativity and innovation to our day-to-day lives.
We have a diverse range of products and solutions being developed under one roof, bringing in major technologies and diverse tech stacks into our work. We are the industry leaders in a multitude of technology domains, including software engineering, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, robotics, embedded systems, and many more. We are also a pioneering leader in software quality assurance and test automation, striving towards making us a center of excellence in software quality assurance. Zone 24/7 has the luxury of a work culture that is collaborative, friendly, caring, and supportive. Both our culture and environment build camaraderie among us.
Our culture has inbuilt learning and development, defining us as a learning organization where our knowledge and learning are highly valued. Zone 24/7 is a place where one can learn, grow, and achieve a great career.
We have a mentoring and coaching mechanism to support individual career growth. We follow industry best practices in managing talent and keep a high focus on the potential for growth and personal development.
Your aspirations are important to us. We provide opportunities to create, innovate, and influence our global products and solutions. You will be able to see the results of your work in a global environment and grow in a career aligned with your expectations and potential. Providing opportunities for intellectually demanding and emotionally rewarding work. We are Zone 24/7.
Defying gravity doesn't define an athlete. It's the connection, a rhythm of consistency, the heart rate that makes life a sport.
It's time to wake up, Mahela.
With decades of precision comes a partnership between man and technology, pushing boundaries in the pursuit of staying well connected. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
Right, is this on? I'm audible, right? Okay. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Technology and Business sessions. To start with, I would like to invite Professor Wolfgang Ziegler, who's gonna join us online. He's the professor at Hochschule Karlsruhe University of Applied Sciences, Germany, and he's part of Digital Information Services in Technical Communication based on content management and delivery semantics. Professor Wolfgang Ziegler, over to you. Is he with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for welcome, and thank you for inviting me. So I would like to give a presentation and just share the screen now. Yes. So I would like to present on digital information services in technical communication, which is typically a field people don't have a focus when it comes to IT and business, but it's something which is very vivid and very active, especially in the European area where I'm working. I'm working at University of Applied Sciences in Germany, and there is a Faculty of Information and Media Management. At the same time, I'm running a kind of business for consulting. So I have a lot of cooperation also with industry, which is the concept of this kind of universities in Germany. So what I would like to report here is, after a short introduction, I would like to show some data on recent study I did with the Association for Technical Communication last year. And then I would like to explain a little bit what it means, content management in the field of technical communication, and more modern concepts of content delivery and digital information services. And if there's a little time at the end, I would like to also report about some research projects where we use semantics to have, let's say, more connected, intelligent content. So just to introduce the topic. When people hear about technical communication, in many cases, they don't really know what it is. So I picked the definition of the US association, the STC, and it's about communicating about products, and which means there are always a connection to the subject matter experts, because we have to communicate to customers or to technicians about any specialized products like IT, like hardware, like automotive, like any kind of engines or something, or medical procedures, or any regulations or anything. Could be in a much more broader sense, any kind of products or services. So there are subject matter experts. So what I'm dealing more is about technology and the media. So our students have to learn about the technology, how to communicate. So not only web technologies, it's any kind of IT means, IT technologies to provide information. And the third area would be like how to communicate, like instructional design, any kind of communication, intercultural communication. So this is also something which is in our program, what students have to learn. And the main goal of technical communication is to provide information in the right way, which means just fitting the products, if it's a very high specific, high variant rich products, and also at the right time. So very quick, very easy to access the information, which is typically quite different what people experience in many cases when they just read ordinary manuals. So we want to do much better. Once you sell very complex business-to-business products, you need real specific information on how to use, how to service, because they're very cost-intensive. So it's also a very important thing to deliver the right information. So this is what we do dealing with our students learn, and also what the business professionals have to do. Just a short look at our program, what we do at our university. So we don't have to go in detail, but students have to learn about language and communication, as I said. So it's like one of the pillars. Others are media and information management, which is more the IT side. I'm working there on this side. So of course, all kind of database technology, information management, multimedia, AI, VR, anything which is relevant there for communicating information. And then also like design issues and also classical documentation. So this is just a brief look into our program. So looking at industry, I think there's so many bad examples of information which is out there, people have to understand. And this is just a brief screenshot of something of one of my customers who want to do better, because it's a mix of different, let's say, variants and parameters and the customers and the users have to read through, have to find the right information, have to think of what kind of diameter is my product, what kind of variant is it, what kind of coating material do we have, in order to retrieve the right information. And this is not the future of content delivery, of information delivery. It should be more easy to retrieve the information. And this is what all companies, all scientists are working on, how to do better. So what companies want to do is, they of course want to improve customer satisfaction. They want to improve user experience, want to improve customer binding. But this just means they have to reduce complexity for the people who are looking for information. So the level of complexity has to go away from the external side. It should be less complex for the outside world, for the users, for technicians. But this also means you cannot just delete complexity because it's in your products. So this means there must be methodologies how to handle complexity in the insight management of the information. And this is what we're doing, how to handle complexity to make it easier for the end users to retrieve the appropriate information. And this, of course, has to be integrated, for example, in IoT process or into software development. So in the whole product lifecycle. And we want to use, of course, the recent electronic media, any kind of apps. So what people are expecting, there must be a better information exchange of structured information. And of course, there will be new product services based on information. So this is what people wish to do. So in the last 20 years, there was like a development of certain systems in technical communication. And I will explain a little later what they look like and what they do. They are called content management, but especially for technical communication. So it's like component content management. So it's called CCMS, which were just a tool for making it more efficient to create manuals. But nowadays, it's much more elaborated, it's much more broad. The outside perspective has been taken into account, which means now we have content delivery, which are more or less like search portals with very intelligent search mechanism in order to deliver more granular information. So this is what's content delivery about. But the main goal is to offer better information services. So this is the reason I call this talk also like digital information service. So something which really serves, with which you help the customers and the end users information, which also could be like a business model, what also a lot of companies now do, to let the customer pay also for information. So there's a kind of involvement of the field of information management attached to technical communication. And I will show a little bit later how it really looks like. All right, so now let's look on a study I did with the Association of Technical Communication in Germany. They are addressing the Central European market. And so we were asking, so what are companies are doing in terms of digitalization? So what kind of initiatives do they have running at the moment? And it's initiatives which are combined with content to any extent. And what you see here as the high runners. So they want to integrate content sources from different departments and build up any kind of application. So content providing software. They also have projects with knowledge management. And we will come to this, what it means, knowledge management. And they have these content delivery portals, which just take the granular information from this component content management system and display it in a better way. You can think of it like online help, but much more intelligent, much more granular, much more supportive. And there are many more initiatives out there on the market. They do like digital archiving, exchange platforms, better service management platforms. And you can see there are initiatives which are dedicated to the end user, to the customer, and there are internal ones, which just means a better organization of their information structure and their information logistics. And we were interested what were the drivers, what were the goals of these initiatives. And for the external ones, it's what I said before, it's enhancing, it's increasing customer satisfaction, increasing usability, having better customer loyalty, which is customer binding, have better media involved in the process. So anything which makes customer and users more happy, more satisfied. And there are, of course, a lot of initiatives which want to create new business models, who want to earn money with content, but this is the second step. First, they know they should do better, and we will report how they want to do better in the second and third part of this presentation. In terms of the internal initiatives, it's like the old problem, it's not easy to find information in-house in their company. So people have a lot of initiatives to have a better information exchange inside the company, to enhance productivity of product development, of sales, have a better quality assurance, improve communication within departments. So there's a lot of things going on this side. So just to prove that this kind of CCMS, this specialized content management system for creating granular content, is a very long time on the market. So the systems out there, like more than 15 years, more than from 11 to 15 years. So just roughly speaking, like 70, 80 or 90%, depending on the country, and in Central Europe, have this kind of systems on place. So they use it heavily for creating structured information in a very efficient way. So only like 30% in this study, they don't yet have it. But it's like huge companies in machinery industry, they all have this kind of system. If you look at CDP, content delivery portals, this kind of search portals for granular content, it's also like 2/3 of the companies have it in place. So the blue ones here, they're just evaluating, having proof of concepts, they're planning these. So it's something which is just there on the fingertips of people, and they will start it within the next month or year. And there are other ones who already have it in place, they use it, they optimize or even have a transition to other content delivery portals, and they're already experienced. So 1/3 at the moment don't have it. We looked also on semantic technology, which is like knowledge graphs and ontology modeling, any kind of knowledge modeling. This is in the background. It's not so often at the moment. It's like maybe 40% of companies, if you look at the total market, and it's used for knowledge modeling, for supporting product selection in terms of variance, in terms of combination, like configuration management. So it's there, but it's used at the moment not so often for content application. And I will show at the end of the talk how we use it, knowledge graphs for content delivery. And with just shortly before the upcoming of ChatGPT, so the usage of AI was heavily in translation management. So a lot of translations, of course, they use machine translation, which is AI-based. And there are some initiatives in automatic classification of content, but there will be a huge increase of this in the upcoming years, also maybe for text generation. But at the moment, it's starting. So having this in mind, I would like to explain what these systems do, the content or component content management system. So I have to explain a little bit about content management and delivery, and also how these information services could look like. So in a very simple picture, how manuals, for example, are created at the moment. In most cases, they are split up into topics, into, let's say, like a half-page or one-page information chunk. They are written in a structured way using XML as a data format. They're stored in database as reusable topics, and they are assembled to certain degrees in an optimized way into document structures. So this can be done manually, but this can also be done by automated processes. So if you have parts list-based document generation, this is something you could do, or other configuration-based document assembly. This is something which was the development over the last 20 years. And people use it heavily, as I said, at least on the European market, we're mostly active. So there's some standard systems out there, like 20 different systems, SCCMS, which are used for creating topic-based content. So this is maybe the important message at this point. People create topic-based content, and they can deliver all kind of output media. Could be like printed material, could be any kind of PDF or something for mobile devices, or put this content delivery portal as searchable topics. So this is a standard toolset at the moment. So they support variant management, they support, of course, versioning management, which is the change management in the life cycle of products. They provide interfaces to translation management, and they create all kind of output media. So the goal is to have a controlled reuse and repurposing of content topics or content chunks, wherever you would like to need them. So the secret behind the topic is not only that it's a content chunk, but it's associated to a set of metadata. And there are certain methodologies how this metadata can be assigned. One of the pretty common and often used is something I called it's the PI or PI classification, which just means you figure out the component which is described inside a topic. Could be also a software component or a software function, so in a virtual way. So you describe information class or what's contained, and it must be really like a very specific selection. So when in this topic there's a repair information, it's nothing about the functional description or the disposal. It must be really dedicated to this information. It must be a clear definition, and writers must stick to this definition and just include the right information for certain information classes. And then they would say also what kind of products this topic can be used. There will be a range of products like software versions, or when you go to automotive, what kind of car types this topic can be used. And you can even include what kind of specific variant properties, whether coating, what kind of coating, what kind of diameter. So exactly the problem I showed before of this unstructured information should be handled in terms of metadata and in terms of validity of certain content chunks. And there could be also more metadata just describing the connection to IoT processes, under which error codes, for example, a certain topic should be displayed, and for what kind of target groups it can be used. So it's really a multidimensional information space. And writers, they don't only write content, no, they associate classification with and to the information topic. So this is like a real life example where it is an excavator in mining environment and someone who just writes information, and it's not necessary to read here. You just see it's XML content, and the writers have to select the information classes and select the components they're described in order to really create selectable content. So this is also support for content engineers. They work with the taxonomy of classification. So, and now coming to the delivery, which is, even though it's in German, but I think we're all used to web shops and product portals, I would say, and using faceted search and categories. And this is just now the same with the content. Now we can just offer this kind of search portals also to the user information, and I just picked an example which fits to the content creation before. So people have faceted search. They can say, I want to see an instruction for the windshield washer or the fluid for a certain excavator. And there's the topic. They don't have to browse through documents anymore. So just this topic will be displayed, and you can just click on and say, okay, that's information I really need. So this is the idea of faceted search using the metadata which has been assigned to the content. So there's faceted search. Of course, still you can use text search with full text search, and you still can use document navigation as long as you want to deliver a document in it. But the topic is the leading part of it. And you can also mix these ways of accessing content. So this is a content delivery portal, one example of it. So now coming to this study I've shown before. In such an environment now in companies, they don't only have technical communication, they have sales departments, they have engineering, they have service departments, and they all can deliver information which might be helpful at the end for the user, for the technicians. So this is the reason why so many companies are dealing with application from different departments, because they want to build up apps, they want to build up support portals. And so they need content from different areas. And so far, I was only talking about content from the TC department, from technical communication. Their dedicated help environment would be the content delivery portal. So again, here, it's number 3. So they're very active on it, but more activities are in this mixed content application. And there would be something between, I will explain in some minutes, about the knowledge management. It also has a role here as an important meaning. And this means the topic-based content has to be provided into these applications now by web services, which usually is called a headless content delivery portal. So in this mixed environment, there would be requests by metadata, and the headless CDP would deliver as a content service the topics to this application here. So this is now a very active field to build these combined applications. And now how to build an information service. So I have an example here of a company in Germany, maybe you know the Bayer company. They offer seeds and crops and fertilizer. And so what they do, they enhance their business. They do digital services, how to help the farmers to get better results on the fields by sensing, for example, how many bugs are in the fields, or how much fertilizer they need, how many seeds they should put there. They have drones for the surveillance of the fields. They have satellite technology. So they build up a digital story around the traditional products. So not anymore seeds and fertilizer and crops and pesticides, but have digital services. You find it on the web, what they do, and how they support the farmers. So this means this is a digital service, and the content is part of it. So I don't have here technical communication example, but I think it's easy to imagine also how to integrate content in terms of using the tractor or the harvester or anything. So this is now a digital story. And now there are many examples of other products. This is an air conditioning by the Daikin company here, which has apps to support the installer of air conditioning. So it's something, it's called an e-doctor, and you can find it on YouTube. There are nice examples of it. So you scan your air conditioning device, and you get information, for example, about troubleshooting, about component check, about component repair. So this information here just comes directly out of the component content management system. So this is a product of the technical communication, but it's built into an app as a digital information service, supporting the installers and have a better customer binding. So this is also a nice example. And again, I recommend if you go to YouTube, there are really impressive examples how this plays together. And then others in machinery industry, like here Caterpillar, they have now like an augmented reality applications for servicing these wheel loaders here. So there are many examples, if you look at it, how to include the content. This here comes from the component content management system, and it's a service app. How to support, again, service technicians when they have to change, for example, the air filter or replace it. This is an example of a German company who sells water plants, and beside the water plant, they also offer the information services for augmented reality application, for controlling, for checking, for repair these devices here, and also include the documents. So if you want to include it in a very efficient way, this shouldn't be documents, this should be topic-based content in order to get the right information at the right place, which was my introductory remark. And as a last example, this is a company also in Eastern Germany von Ardennes called. They have high technology coating in semiconductor industry machines, and they sell their e-learning, which is component based. So just behind this environment, there are electrical equipment, there is the cooling water and sensoring technology. They have just dedicated e-learnings like modules, which are again associated to these components here, and they sell it as as a business case. All right, so if this is something which is not only accepted, but which is required in the market, not only to have high quality products, but also to deliver high quality content and information services. I would like to show how now semantics comes into the game. I just like to look at it as like a cascade of intelligence levels. So what I explained so far in terms of the metadata is just what I call native intelligence. So people have to put by hand metadata on their content chunks, on their videos, on their e-learning modules. So it's really manually work, and it's important that people know what to do. But there's a second level, which is the augmented intelligence, which is just using semantics, knowledge graphs, knowledge technology. And of course, there's the upper level artificial intelligence, but I will not talk today about this. I would like to look at the augmented intelligence now. So why is in technical communication so important also to include knowledge graphs? And the reason is pretty easy, because they are dependencies. They are relationships between metadata. There are certain components which are only available in certain markets, or only in combination with each other, or only with a certain product type. So there's so many dependencies. And in many cases, the writers are a little lost in metadata because they don't know about the right combinations, what to select. And this is the natural field of ontology, of knowledge graphs. So how to model this kind of dependencies. And in the picture I've shown before, it's also natural to think now of a like integrated scenario and data governance. Actually, in detail, it's metadata governance. So I said before, there are many information services which need content from different sources and from different areas, which just means there are also different metadata schemes. So there must be an overview, there must be an understanding of the different metadata schemes. What I had here in the CCMS like taxonomies, it will be different here. And you need here like a layer to make it possible to understand how they are connected, the information of the different sources. And this is the natural field of ontologies, of semantics. So this is now the reason why the companies are so much interested also in knowledge management. They have a common understanding of the different areas of the content, and also like the departments, what kind of content they provide and they deliver. So now it's easy to understand why they are just the high runners of our study. So there are many applications on the market where they have ontologies, which also looks like this nice networks. And this is an example of a customer of mine, which tries to model, and sorry, it's in German here, but I just explain very briefly. They model what kind of competencies they have, their products have, what kind of processed media. They sell valves for fluid technology. And the reason why they do this, they want to support sales departments. So salespersons, they supported once they selected the media the customer has, what kind of functionality should be supported, they automatically detect the information which is needed inside the sales process. So I cannot show the system here, but I can show a little bit in the background how the model was made. So it's ontology for sales processes. Coming back a little closer to the field of technical communication, we use ontologies, as I explained, to support the content creation process, to help writers to have the right metadata and to pick the right combinations. Ontologies are used inside of content delivery, which means inside the search portals, as I've shown it, to show the relationships between content and to model it. And I have some tiny example of this in the last part. And if you have larger companies, they have this ontology, as I said, as like a semantic middleware, like an information hub, which connects the different departments and tries to help people understand the connection between information of these departments. And of course, CMS and CDP can also benefit from this. So this is a larger project, which are not usually done by mid-sized companies, but going back to this, this kind of delivery support, this is now done quite often. Yeah, so this leads to the last part, and I would like to speed up a little bit because there's some research I do with my students, with my grad students, together with companies. So it's real industry, academic cooperation. And let me skip this. Let's go here. And it's once you deliver your content in a topic-based manner, there's still some need, some requirement to have some, let's say, a structured set of topics which have a relevant context, which belong to each other, which describe a use case for any kind of repair or something. So it would be, in many cases, quite be helpful to have some, well, let's call it rules, what kind of topics should be displayed together. And this was the starting point of doing something like correlation rules, as I called it 2 years before. So it's like a primary object, you look at it like on a topic, and you can derive some rules, what kind of secondary objects should be displayed based on metadata. So this is the important thing. We now use the metadata from CCMS, which are at the end included in the ontology. So it's an ontology of metadata. And you can build up pretty easy rules how to connect these topics. You say there is a topic for the connection and the getting started. Then there should be a second topic displayed for the manual diagnostic of this product or the contact data or something. So it's no linking by manual means. So no writers do the linking, but it's linking just from metadata to metadata. So this would be in a graph environment. So there would be a rule that whenever there's a connection and putting to use. So there should be some other objects which have metadata, like displaying the operating element, the fault analysis, and it should be displayed at the same time. So what we do, we use different modeling tools because it's independent of any modeling tool. You can use Protégé as an open source software, but you can use any of the commercial tools because it's just a methodology. You put on top your existing ontology. And once again, the ontology includes the metadata of the CCMS. So this is maybe the secret why it's so easy to use. Um, so what we do, we now build up this ontology, including the metadata. We model the rules between content. We set up some REST services. We did this together with my students, some APIs here, describing the connection between metadata, and just helped the content delivery portals to interconnect the content. And the nice thing is, this can be done across different systems. And this is what we did for a company, a German company, which is the Leaper company. So they have, for example, they wanted to connect a spare parts catalog and they want to use a content delivery portal. I just show the results here. So this was the content delivery portal, and it's the same I've shown you before. Someone is looking for a maintenance task for cleaning the air cleaner. So this would be the delivery portal. And once he clicks on it, the tool just sends a request to the graph database, and there will be some linking, automated linking between different systems. So this would be into the parts catalog, and this would be inside the delivery portal. And down here you see a little bit, it also works on the other side or the other way around. So this is a spare parts catalog where somebody looks for any kind of like a filter or what is near air conditioning, and at the same time it queries the graph and gets the information where to go once they need content from the content delivery portal. So it's a linking between different systems, which can be done for any system which can do a web call. So we have a lot of projects right now with companies who want to do this, like a trial. They put in a lot of work into CCMS, which means this topic-based content. They put a lot of work into the metadata, and what we show them is how to take a benefit from this in terms of automatic linking according to certain use cases. And the use cases are gathered, for example, from service technicians, which have a lot of experience and say it's good to display not only this topic, but also give them a hint what other information should be browsed or should be read. So this now comes to the end. So we have a lot of these industry academic projects right now, and even companies now implemented in their real life environments. So it's a natural extension of what I explained, what we do in technical communication for a long time. So CCMS and granular content. It's was a nice project for students to have these creating this correlation rule API. It's a good means also for the companies, because it's like a test of the quality of the metadata. And companies learned a lot how also to improve the metadata. It's a way for expressing hidden knowledge to gather from the service technicians. It helps companies to start with semantic technologies. But it needs also some educated people, which could come from data science, or we call it, should work as information architects. And it also can be extended also by AI technologies right now, because these rules could also be analyzed and like detected from the user behavior, from analytics in the web portals, which would then be a nice combination of manual models and AI detected rules, which could be put in this correlation rules. And I think that's it for the moment. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Wolfgang Ziegler, for that very informative session. And now it's time for us to move on to our very first technical session. And to chair this session, I would like to invite Professor Nalaka Vikramasinghe, Associate Dean of Business School of IIT.
Thank you very much. So how you feel? So from the morning to now, so we bombarded with some new technological stuff. So you can see the world is going to change. There are so many disruptive things on the way. So when you are thinking about this, the generative AI, so if you think about the history, so it's the 1960s technology. Now in 2022, people are talking about that one, that become a buzzword. Because of why? Because of the business application. So that's where you need to understand whatever the technology developed in the laboratory or the tech house or whatever, so it's going to have a wing and come to the world, and people are going to talk about that one when we apply that one in business. So therefore, when it comes to business technology or the technology application in business is very important. That's where we are taking the technology into the society. When people start using technology, and it's going to give you the positive impact. So then people going to embrace that technology, then they are going to grab that one. That's what happened to this generative AI. So with the chat GPT, so it's created some kind of a buzz, and people are utilizing that technology in different applications, and different applications are coming. It's going to disrupt the world that we know. So therefore, whatever the models that we have in our mind should be changed when it comes to education, when it comes to business, when it comes to health or whatever. So whatever the models that we develop as best models is going to be disrupted, and it's going to be challenged by these technologies. So therefore, when it comes to technology, the application and impact, what kind of application we can come up with, and what is the impact it's going to create in society is very important. So with that note, so I'm going to invite our first author. So we have two papers here. So one is actually talking about the application side of technology. Other one is talking about the impact, how we can assess the impact of technology application. So therefore, so we have two nice presentation lineup. So I would like to invite Jessica Ryan. So the paper is co-authored by Mr. Namal Malalasena from IIT. The title of the paper is Alzcare, the cognitive therapy application for Alzheimer's patient with smart results and the safety tool to support their caregivers. So you have 20 minutes to present. So then we can go for the Q&A session.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Jessica Ryan. So I'm privileged to present my research today at ICIIT 2023. So the project I have done, the research is on Alzcare. To give a brief introduction about the presentation, the research I have done, I'll start up with the problem. Alzheimer's disease is a progressive neurological challenge leading to memory loss, cognitive decline, and behavioral changes. So this is a disease where the memory is affected. Talking more about the problem of this disease, caregivers face many difficulties when handling the Alzheimer's disease patients to ensure their safety and providing constant supervision on their behavioral changes, memory loss, cognitive decline. Further, the problem identified with this regard is to access comprehensive cognitive enhancement therapies to all the patients, to do effective disease management, and to support the patients, caregivers, and also the medical professionals. So, to overcome the challenges faced I have come up with the solution that is AlzCare, a cognitive therapy application for Alzheimer's patients with smart results and a safety tool to support their caregivers. Talking about the literature review. Talking more about the disease, Alzheimer's disease, it is the most common cause of dementia, and 40 to 60% of cases are recorded, and it is impacting the memory, thinking and behavior of the patients. So it's a neurodegenerative disorder characterized by plaques and tangles. The symptoms of this disease process from preclinical stage to severe dementia. There are a number of stages for this disease. Mainly there are 5 stages. Mainly there are 5 stages of this disease, and the risk factors including age, family history, genetics, lifestyle and environment. Around 50 million people are currently affected globally due to this disease. And a cognitive therapy, there are multiple therapies. There is no cure for this disease, but there are multiple therapies for this disease. It includes cognitive therapies, which can slow the cognitive decline of the patients. Early diagnosis of this disease is very crucial to improve the outcomes and to safeguard the patients. And also, due to this disease, caregivers, medical professionals face a lot of challenges in taking care of the patients. And technologies such as AlzCare can enhance the care given to these patients and offering a remote access to personalized therapies. So this is a statistics from global projections of dementia prevalence by geographic regions through the Alzheimer's Research UK. So as you can see, it's nearly 50 million people are affected currently, and it's expected to rise to nearly 160 million in 2050. So the methodology I have conducted on this research is both the qualitative and quantitative methodologies I have used. I have used sampling with medical professionals, neurologists, psychiatrists, psychologists, and also the caregivers of Alzheimer's patients. So both interviews and literature survey has helped me to conduct the research for AlzCare. So through the interviews I have conducted with the psychologists and psychiatrists, they have expressed that there are issues when conducting cognitive therapies with patients of accessing the therapies they have, and also monitoring them remotely, because they need to always go to the clinics and have the records and to analyze the patient. So to remotely analyze the patient, there are issues. Further, with the caregivers, they have multiple issues when providing care to the patients due to their wandering behavior, memory loss. So those were analyzed and the problems were identified through the interviews I have conducted with the psychiatrists, psychologists, and also with an office manager at Lanka Alzheimer's Foundation in Sri Lanka. So this research was conducted mainly for the goal to understand AlzCare's effectiveness to improve the Alzheimer's care and to inform the targeted interventions for the patients. Here are the results of the interviews I have conducted. So through the interviews I have conducted, I got the age group of the Alzheimer's patients. As you can see, most of them are above 60 to 80. And then 75% of the patients' caregivers need support to take care of the patients. And also questions were asked on the importance of tracking the patient's memory. So these answers were given. Level of attention and care should be given to the patient was recorded very high. And then to have track on the consultants aftercare advice remotely, and to get consultants advice immediately at emergency. And also there are difficulties when taking patients to visits whenever required, as they are negligent and also lethargic to go to the clinics. So that was also a main concern. Further, questions were asked on the necessity of an application on cognitive simulation therapies. So when we had an interview with Lanka Alzheimer's Center, they said once a week they are taking the patients. Only once a week they are allowed to be at their center. That means only once a week they get chance to do activities, brain-related activities. So the rest of the days they don't have a chance. So in that case, the application will be helpful to improve their cognitive ability through the therapies which is there in the application. And also the necessity of the tool to ensure patient safety. So the majority, 82% and more, is, it said, it's very important to have a tool, a supportive tool to take care and ensure the safety of the patients. And here are the difficulties faced by the caregivers when handling the patients. So they get lost in familiar neighborhood, wandering due to their wandering behavior, and also acting impulsive, and poor decision making, problem solving difficulties, and also the mood swing, emotional changes are few more difficulties faced by the caregivers. So based on the results I have gained from the research I did through the literature review and also the interviews, I have come up with the solution ALSCare. It is a cognitive simulation tracking application which tracks and manages cognitive stimulation therapy assigned to patients. The medical professionals can handle this, and they can give stimulation therapies to the patients, and also they can provide real-time feedback on how they have performed on these cognitive stimulation therapies they have been assigned to. And also caregivers, based on the feedback given, they can track the memory levels they have through the application, through the analytics and the reports that the application provides. And also through that analytics and reports which have been provided, a memory level monitoring is done in real time, which is an asset both for the caregivers and also medical professionals to handle the patients in an emergency situation. Further, it is also a safety monitoring tool. The application is supported with a smart device which can track the location, the vital signs such as heartbeat, blood pressure, oxygen levels, and also the gas or smoke levels around the patients, which will be a safety monitoring tool for both the caregivers and for the patients to ensure patient safety and well-being from distance placed even by the caregivers. Therefore, as a conclusion, I believe ALSCare offers a promising solution to Alzheimer's patients, caregivers, and also medical professionals in providing cognitive stimulation therapies, remote safety monitoring, and also social engagement. As a future work of healthcare, we can explore more into AI mood predictions, advanced brain stimulation therapies, including virtual reality, gamifications, predictive analytics, and also to improve the technology, to use the technology to transform healthcare by improving lives of the patients, caregivers, and the medical professionals who are treating these patients. So thank you everyone for listening to my presentation.
Thank you very much. So we have panel of judges. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Actually, it's a very good presentation, very well done. And actually, you have done an applied research in the morning. I can remember the first speaker in the conference said that so you are supposed to present applied research. So it's basically an applied research because about some sort of a practical issue, and you explore it and you come up with some solutions and so on and so forth. So I like it very much. The way you have done it. And also you didn't beat about the bush and directly enter into the research problem and you gave it to us. That's how actually you should start the presentation. However, I have a few concerns about your research, especially in terms of you go to your methodology and the slide before that. Can you go to the slide before the methodology and the methodology slide? If it is okay, before that. Yes. And yes, keep it. So you have very clearly actually highlighted the performance gap with data, primary as well as secondary data. That is how I saw performance gap is there. Very interesting because in an applied research it is a must. So it is there. So you have shown it. When you go to the methodology slide, don't think that I have that problem because I can't remember everything that you have presented. Actually, under research design, I think there is a misperception there because you have mentioned this research as a kind of a mixed method one, quantitative and qualitative. But for me, actually, it's rather than because you have used descriptive statistics and given no results. So mixed method is for me something else, not this. So either you can say yes, I am, and also if you are doing it quantitatively, then purposive sampling, not purposive sampling, it should be convenient sampling. If it is qualitative, then it can be purposive sampling. So those are two different sampling techniques. So therefore, you need to semi-structured interview with that. Those things are basically not quantitative ones. So those areas I think you need to look into after the consultation with those supervisor and all. So you can, I think, make some adjustments. There are some journals I have seen a few recently. You can adjust it and send it to an applied research. There are some journals where they publish applied research recently, I have seen. So that type of a journal you can send, but only thing is you need to think about the methodology section because it is not exactly what we have mentioned here. And also you have used only descriptive statistics because you need to go beyond that. If you want to say it's a kind of a quantitative one. That's how I do it. You have to go beyond that. There are many analytical techniques, quantitative techniques to analyze your results, analyze your whatever the data further. than descriptive statistics. So those things, these are the few comments. Since we are running out of time, I'm not going to take much time. Very nice presentation, good approach, very nice. Thank you. Any question from audience? Because we are running out of time. Thank you very much.
Even though she didn't mention about the significance of that one, so we have something, there's a concept called population aging. Sri Lanka is having the highest rate of population aging. So that means by 2030, every family is going to have a adult dependent, 60 plus adult in their family. So therefore we need this kind of application, how we take care of our elderly population. So that's the major significance of that application. Now our second topic, the presentation will be on the impact of electronic word of mouth. So you know the social commerce is spread as viral. So electronic word of commerce is one of the major thing. So this topic is discussing about impact of electronic word of mouth on customer purchase intention, study on the Sri Lankan fashion industry. The authored by Vishlani Sureshan. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sureshan and Sonali Aponsu, Informatics Institute of Technology. Over to you. And please remember, so because we are running out of time, so we'll have 15 minutes for presentation, then we can have a Q&A session after that. Thank you.
Hi, so good afternoon everyone. I am Vishalini Sureshan and I am really excited to be presenting to you my research on the impact of electronic word of mouth on customer purchase intention in the Sri Lankan fashion industry. So this is the content as to what I will be discussing today through my presentation. So moving on to the background of the study. So electronic word of mouth is pretty much what people share on like social media platforms or any other digital platform about a particular product or service to other people to know about. So in order to get hold of my research, the main problem domain that I was able to identify, the existing problem is that there's poor electronic word of mouth in the Sri Lankan fashion industry. So you can see that the fashion industry of Sri Lanka is growing, but due to like COVID and the economic crisis that we faced in the latest years, the digital marketing spending has been low and it has been inconsistent as well. So that has hindered the development of like very effective digital strategies. So because there's ineffective digital strategies, there's a weak digital engagement among customers. So that is the reason as to why there's poor e-worm in the Sri Lankan fashion industry as of now. So I was able to actually find these problems through my own interviews that I have had with people that I know, like people who are very interested in fashion, who are actively participating in social media activities, and also my own observations on social media as well. So this leads to the question, what is actually the impact of e-worm on the customer purchase intention in the Sri Lankan fashion industry? So in order to answer that question, I've set few objectives for my research. So one is to identify the dimensions of e-worm that influences the customer purchase intention of fashion products, and then to analyze the relationship of those identified e-worm dimensions on the customer purchase intention, and finally to provide recommendation to fashion brands on how they can formulate marketing strategies to create engagement among customers. So the scope of the study is actually limited to e-worm that is generated through social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So to provide valuable and
through my research, I aim to provide valuable insights to fashion brands on how customers actually react to their marketing strategies and how they can actually build on a digital marketing strategy themselves to improve this engagement and EVM in the fashion industry. So moving on to the literature review, so in order to actually find answer to my first objective, to achieve the first objective, to find the EVM dimensions, I have used few frameworks. One is the elaboration likelihood model. So this is actually a process theory of persuasion that was proposed to understand how individuals process information in different medias to make their decisions regarding anything. So there's central route. So central route mainly motivates the individual to make decisions based on the information quality. And there's peripheral route, where when people don't actually want to spend a lot of effort in making decision based on information quality, they go for review quantity, whether they see whether there's a lot of reviews, whether there's a lot of shares, likes for that particular post, and then make their decisions on it. So that is one model. And moving on to the information acceptance model, this is actually it provides elucidation of the influence that information has on individuals. So it impacts to see how quality of information or credibility of information would actually help an individual to adopt to a particular information. And there's information adoption model, which is pretty much similar to the previous model. So in this one, the information, because individuals they interpret a particular information differently. So a particular information is interpreted differently by different person. So in that case, in order to understand that particular part of it, information adoption model I have identified, and the main components are the argument quality and the source credibility. And finally, and the source credibility model, so this is to see how actually a source, a person who actually provides this particular information to others, and how do people actually trust the person and then make their decisions. So here the attributors, the spokesperson's attributes their expertise, their familiarity towards the topic actually have an impact. And then finally the theory of planned behavior. So this was developed based on the earlier theory of recent action. So it reasons that individual intention to perform a behavior is a critical predictor when it comes to actually the action being performed. And the elements out of which this model talks about is the attitude of to behavior, subjective norms, and perceived behavior control. So based on all these models, I was able to identify 4 main variables. So, and then I did empirical research on it to find how previous researchers have actually have used these in their research to find results. So first variable is the argument quality. So here you can see that these two research have actually found that argument quality is pretty much the convincing or the persuading strength of the information. And in order to find the impact of this particular variable, they use relevant, clarity, accessibility, timeliness, all those predictors, and then they decide on how it impacts other dependent variables. Information credibility, so for a message to be credible, it should be accurate, logical, believable. And then consumer, when they perceive that it's a credible message, then they would most likely to engage with it, and they believe it and make their decisions. And when it comes to review quantity, it was identified that the volume of EVM, when it's high, that means the product is actually popular. And when there's high volume of information, past customers, that is shared by past customers, will boost customers' confidence while persuading them to purchase it. And when it comes to source credibility, evaluation of a source is analyzed, as I already told, through expertise, trustworthiness, familiarity. And when the source provides this particular information, the receiver will make their decision, believe it according to their level of understanding, and make their decisions. And purchase intention is pretty much a very focal theory that has been used in a lot of researchers. So when it comes to demographic factors like age, gender, education, they have used those to identify how those impact purchase intention. And when it comes to social media aspects, trust, social influence, recognition are all used to see how those affect purchase intention as well. So based on those, the empirical research, I was able to find those 4 variables, and I will be talking about it later on in my presentation. So going to the methodology, the research philosophy that I've used was the philosophy of positivism, because it pursues knowledge through observation and empirical research rather than speculation. And when it comes to research approach, the deductive approach was used because it uses like existing general theories that have been already found by other authors in the previous researches. And I have used a quantitative research methodology because I have used like frameworks, theories, and like standardized instruments like surveys to collect data. So I have used a quantitative research methodology. And when it comes to sampling technique, the convenient sampling method was used because there was a readily available population to collect the data. And since I had like a very restricted time period also, it was very convenient in getting all the data as well. And when we look at the sample size, I actually aim to get the information and data from people who are more than 18 years of age in the district of Colombo. Because Colombo is actually prominent for their fashion, and there's a lot of social media users in Colombo as well compared to the other geographical areas. And accordingly, Colombo's population is 633,000. So using Anderson-Saunders method, the sample size was set as 384. So this is the conceptual framework, and my independent variables are argument quality, information credibility, review quantity, and source credibility. And I will look into how these impact the dependent variable customer purchase intention. So in order to test, I set out hypotheses. All these were collected based on the previous researches done. So where I am checking whether each of these variables have a positive relationship or they have no relationship on the customer purchase intention. So we will move on to the data analyzation and the representation. So in order to first, before I go into the analysis, I had to make sure that all the data collected, which is 250 responses, are reliable and valid, so that in order to conduct a comprehensive analysis later on. So as you can see, the first table, those are the threshold values, and the second table shows the results that I got from the survey I conducted and through which I ran tests on like Cronbach Alpha KMO to find the reliability and validity on SPSS software. And accordingly, you can see that it actually matches the threshold values, so hence it's proven that the data collected were valid and reliable. Moving on to descriptive statistics, to give us a brief idea about what this is. So each of the variables here shows how respondents have actually like responded to the survey that I've given. So basically here in the mode you can see it's all 4 or 3.5. That means that the respondents believe that the variables have like, they agree, mostly strongly agree on the variables that they have the impact on the customer purchase intention. And that's the reason why you can see that the skewness is also in negative values, because all the respondents that were collected through the Likert scale were mostly on the strongly agree, or the neutral sides. So this is a descriptive statistics. So moving on to the hypothesis testing, I've used this particular threshold to see whether my hypotheses were accepted or rejected. So accordingly, it was revealed that each correlation value was significant at level 0.01 and showed a positive correlation value, so meaning that each of the variable have a positive relationship with the customer purchase intention. So accordingly, argument quality, information credibility, review quantity, and source credibility, where all 4 alternate hypotheses were accepted. Then the multiple regression was done. So here you can see that R2 value is 0.414. That means it indicates that 41.4% of the variation of the variables have an impact on the purchase intention. So they are combined together. The effect of even variables show a weak effect, as you can see the threshold value, because it's 0.414, which is between 0.25 and 0.5. That means it's a weak effect on the customer purchase intention. This is probably because there could be other variables that impact customer purchase intention as well. So that's the main reason why it could be interpreted as a weak relationship. And here this table shows how multiple regression coefficient, excluding argument quality, information credibility, and review quantity, as they surpass the significant value of 0.05, probably due to the nonlinear relationship between the variables. So in conclusion, you can see that source credibility was considered as the significant variables out of all the variables that I was able to identify. So through this analysis, I was able to find recommendations that the fashion brands could use so they can improve their electronic word of mouth. One is to create community, like comfortable community where they can share their thoughts. Customers can share their thoughts, like for example Facebook groups and all, so where they can share their thoughts. So fashion brands can create community. They can also use user generated contents and use like social listening tools to improve EVM. And also social media optimization, it's a very growing trend at the moment, which they could utilize to improve their EVM among the customers, and also maybe collaborate with influencers and celebrities, so that increases the source credibility factors as well. And since there were time limits and other limitation to my research, these are some of the recommendations that future researchers could use. One is they could support the research with mixed methodology, because I use the quantitative, they could maybe use a qualitative aspect to it and maybe increase the reliability and validity of the research overall. And they could collect data from different parts of the country, because I fully aimed it from the Colombo target customer audience. They could maybe try it out different regions of Sri Lanka to see how those results would end up. And usage of more variables, since there was only 4 variables I chose, they could maybe try it out with other variables that impact the customer purchase intention. So in conclusion, EVM dimensions, argument quality, information credibility, review quantity, and source credibility were identified, and 250 valid responses were collected, and through SPSS, the hypotheses were analyzed and tested and was confirmed. Accordingly, all 4 variables have a positive relationship, out of which source credibility was considered the most impacting factor. So with that, I will end my presentation. Thank you for listening.
So I have one question on your quantitative analysis. Can we go to slide number 23? Yes, here now here, the way you write your hypothesis. What is the H1? This argument. This argument has no relationship with customer purchase information. So are you going to look at the relationship or the significance?
A relationship, whether it has a relationship with the customer purchasing.
Anyway, there is a relationship.
Yeah, but then to see whether it has a positive relationship or not.
So why do you want to see a positive relationship? Yes, we should look at, but it should be positive or negative, it should be significant, right?
Yeah.
If it is significant, only we are giving the recommendations, right?
If it's significant, if there's a particular significant variable, then those variable could be used in order to build up the recommendations.
Okay.
But then, like, I want to see whether it has a particular relationship, and then see out of all those variables identified, whether there's one significant variable that could be used.
Why are you looking at only one significant variable? After regression analysis? Regression analysis. Yeah. So how many variables are significant here? Only one. So significant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then your the hypothesis that you put up
is relationship.
The hypothesis that you are going to see, you are going to see whether it is significant or not. Even though there is a relationship which is positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Right? Ultimately, we are going to see whether your relationship with the independent and the dependent variables are significant. Right? So, in that way, you are going to put up your hypothesis. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So ultimately you have to go with the regression analysis and check what is the significant variable or what are the significant variables. Then for that you are going, so only one variable is significant, that is okay. Then you are going to develop your hypothesis on the significance of the variables, because in correlation either there is a relation, anyway there is a relationship, right? There is a relationship. So if it is significant only, we are going to develop the hypothesis on the basis of significance. Right, so that is how the statistical analysis should do. Otherwise, the way you do your research, and also the frameworks that you have used. You have used so many frameworks. So what is the relationship with these frameworks and the conceptual framework that you have developed?
So those framework is to identify what are the most used variables identified from other previous researchers.
Okay.
And from that I chose the most important ones and created my own conceptual framework to test my research in the fashion industry.
How did you analyze these are the most important things? How do you did that?
So basically, based on the empirical research, so most of the researchers have used all these, they have used these models in their research as well. And accordingly, so these models have those variables in it. So accordingly, I chose those mostly used ones.
Mostly used ones. Okay. Thank you.
Vishalini.
Thank you, Vishalini. Actually, I should congratulate you the way that you presented and the confidence that you have shown us. But I'm sorry that I came in the middle, so I don't know what is your conceptual framework and all. Just I saw your analysis part. Now, this is the multiple regression data, right?
Yes.
So according to this table, only one hypothesis supported, right? So can you go back to the 23, slide number 23? It shows that all these assumptions are accepted.
Since I looked into the relationship part, so I checked whether these variables have a positive or no relationship, and accordingly, it's all those positive ones were accepted. But
I think that's what
yeah.
we are also saying. Normally, what we do is we see whether there is an impact,
Yeah.
like on intention versus intention, right? So out of those all four factors, only one has an impact, right? All other three were rejected. That's what I saw in the multiple table. Okay, so it's okay, it's a finding, right?
Yeah.
Research finding. So as you mentioned, you said that all those factors were selected based on previous research. So that means all those four factors are, you found that it has an impact. But in your study, it's not impact. There is no impact, right? What might be the reason?
Probably the area, so those were done in different geographical area, targeting different customers or different domains. So mine is like a different industry, so maybe the results depends on the domain that I tested on, or probably like.
So who are your sample population?
Individuals of the age of 18 and above from Colombo district.
18 and above, there is no cap. That means just 18 and above. It can
Yes.
even include ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm not sure.
Yes.
We have to check your demographic factors. Sometime you might have chosen people. Now, this might be the problem here, right? Because 18 and people like us who are more than 50, we have different intention. I mean,
Yes.
there are different reasons for our purchase intention, right? I think if you choose a specific, population and the sample, then the results would have been changed.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that was a limitation of my research as well.
Okay.
So I have included that for as a recommendation for future research where they could
No,
target.
it's okay. Just for your learning
Yes.
purpose, I said that it's better you define clearly demographic. Then I saw your descriptive table. Just why that argument quality has minimum 1.75?
Based on the SPSS test run.
No, actually, what I feel is when you do the data entry,
Yeah.
it's a mistake. The minimum should be 1. Can it be 1.75? Can it be 1.75? No, but the minimum is 1, the maximum is 5. So how did you collect data and how did you enter to the SPSS?
Through the data sheet, through Excel I had, and then I copied it to the.
So Excel, you enter the data to Excel sheet?
No, it automatically gets entered when the Google.
If it is online, Google.
Yes.
Anyone in the forum, is that possible? For me, so something is there, right? Okay, but anyway, I like your confidence and the way you presented.
Actually, go to first slide. Quickly, I'll tell you something. Very interesting presentation, very good presentation. I really like it. Second one, next slide. Actually, I like the way that you have shown the performance gap. Very interesting, but I had two concerns there. You said that you have taken people whom you know. You have done a pilot study, and based on the pilot study results, you have brought the I think the performance gap to your research. Am I right? It's a kind of a pilot study. Am I right?
Yeah, I did a pilot study.
So, but there is an issue there. So, if you have a supervisor or somebody, you can talk to them, because there is a kind of a personal biasness there. So, when you are doing a pilot study, you have to keep your friends, your relatives outside and do your. That is something else. Go down quickly. And research question, go down, right, down, and also you have used many frameworks. Actually, remember one thing, that when you are using theories, frameworks, models, that kind of things in your research, even in a PhD research, we don't use 4-5 theories and all, right? Maximum 2 may be enough, because otherwise you can't handle your research. So that issue is there. But anyway, I really like that you have used some sort of theories at a very early stage of your research career. You have done it because you know something, how to conceptualize those things. I really like it, right? Go down. Go down quickly. Up. All right. Down. Yes, down. Up. The hypothesis testing, and when you are actually giving the conclusion, don't say accepted or rejected. Say supported or not supported. Don't say accepted, rejected, no acceptance or no rejection, supported or not supported. Right? You go down. And the other one, recommendations. Actually, when it comes to recommendations, you are not doing a research for some sort of an organization. You have some sort of implications. Recommendations you give when you are doing a kind of a thing for an outside organization for some sort of a purpose kind of a thing. Otherwise, you have to say, these are the implications of my research. So that is important. Last one, up. And the limitations. When it comes to limitations, never say the limitations that you have imposed to your research. You got the point. Limitations are in the literature, in the methodology, and now you have used convenience sampling technique. In the convenience sampling technique, there are many embedded limitations. So that type of things bring as limitations, not the limitations that you have imposed to your research. I have taken Colombo district, I have taken only 386 as my sample. Those things are not they can't be taken as limitations are limitations, inherent limitations in the methodology, literature, problematization, that kind of things, right? That is important, right? Thank you very much. Very interesting. All the best to you, right?
Thank you very much. So it's a part of learning. So even Albert Einstein come and do a presentation, these guys will give comments. That's the nature of conference. So it's a part of learning. Now this is the big problem when you do statistics. Your correlation becomes significant, but all of your variable become insignificant when it comes to regression. It's kind of a thing is called reciprocal suppression. I can't teach that one because we are running out of time. So that's a problem that we need to solve. That with your data set, you need to change that. So with that note, I would like to wind up the session. So I would like to thank our eminent panel of judges, Professor Tissa Ravindra from University of Colombo, Professor Mohammad Razi from University of Kelaniya, Professor Kaushalya Yatigammana from University of Kelaniya, for their comments and their dedication to being a part of this one, and all the audience to engage with this presentation, and all the two presenters. So they are very young, so this is the beginning of your career, so you learn a lot of things. So when you go to conferences, forum like this, you can learn, so you can improve yourself, you can improve your papers, and you can publish in journals. So that's the part of learning. So thank you very much, everyone. So have a good day.
Thank you, Professor Nalaka. Now I would like to invite Mr. Sudarshana Velahinda to present Professor Nalaka with a token of appreciation. Professor Nalaka, could you please stand in the session? Thank you. All right, now that we have fed our brains with information, it's time to feed our tummies, I would say. So we'll have a 1 hour lunch break. After that, you're all requested to join to the main hall for poster presentations. Thank you.
When the internet is powered by fiber, it's nothing like those days. Connections without delays or interruptions. Quite unlike those days. The pinnacle of picture quality. An ultra-fast superpower. It's nothing quite like those days. Sri Lanka's first, fastest and widest premium fiber network. SLT Mobitel Fiber, the fiber of the nation.
Imagine a technology partner invested in your dreams, where we take the time to understand your aspirations and give you the opportunity to transform them into reality through disruptive innovation. We are ICIIT Digital Labs. We are a team of IT professionals, data scientists, cloud solutions specialists, creative design engineers, spanning 7 global offices. We are enriching the lives of over 500 million people. We have successfully delivered projects globally, specializing in digital telco solutions, mobile money, fintech, IoT, AI, machine learning, data analytics, and self-care solutions. Using our expertise and domain knowledge, we have helped challenge the norms of industries and rewrite the rules of engagement. We provide our customers with agility. We provide them future-ready products now. ICIIT Digital Labs, advancing digital life.
The world is changing rapidly in front of our eyes. While new technologies are being built, tons of data is created every second. Industry needs are changing and businesses need to innovate ever so fast. Are you equipped to face the transformations taking place around you? We can help you achieve it. That is what inspires us. This is Limark Technologies. We're a talented and experienced pool of software architects, engineers and data scientists have come together to produce world-class software solutions. We are a global technology company specializing in product engineering, data analytics, DevOps, quality engineering, ICIIT and cloud frameworks, and our unique service model of CTO Office as a Service. Limark Technologies, for a mark of excellence.